Wow, just wow, what a game. And talk about a turnaround. The Arizona Cardinals absolutely astonished us all, pulling off a win against the Dallas Cowboys, 27-17, an unbelievable shift from their recent streak of losses. Jacoby Brissett, get ready for his name to trend, folks. With 261 yards and 2 touchdowns in his arsenal, he really filled those Kyler Murray-sized shoes. I mean, his poise and leadership just rallied the entire team and kept that offense ticking like a well-oiled machine. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. was on fire too, wasn't he? He exposed all those little cracks in the Cowboys' defense, snagging 96 yards along the way. It's like magic the way he slotted into the gaps. And can we take a moment to appreciate the tactical masterclass by the Cardinals' defense? They shut down Prescott when it mattered, capitalizing on the Cowboys' costly errors. It feels like this win could pivot the momentum for the Cardinals this season, finally breaking that slump. And let's not forget the coaching precision. Their strategy just clicked today. So what do you think? Could this spark a resurgence for Arizona? Let me know in the comments. And while you're at it, hit subscribe for more post-match breakdowns. You don't want to miss what's next. All right, moving on. We have to talk about Jacoby Brissett and how he absolutely took charge in this game. Filling in for Kyler Murray isn't easy, but folks, Brissett made it look like clockwork. The grit and composure he showed against the Cowboys were nothing short of impressive. He was, how do I put this, commanding. With a stat line of 2 passing touchdowns and even sneaking in a rushing touchdown, Brissett was all over the field, making those crucial plays just when they needed to happen. Particularly when the Cowboys' defense was breathing down his neck, they laid down 5 sacks in total. Brissett kept his cool. His pocket presence was exemplary, completing 21 of 31 attempts. And with a passer rating of 115.1, yeah, I'd say efficient is an understatement. Plus, his connection with receivers like Marvin Harrison Jr. was a joy to watch. That chemistry wasn't an accident. It translated into 7 successful third-down conversions out of 13 tries. That's the sort of performance that sets the tone, making sure the Cardinals capitalized on the Cowboys' defensive miscues. Jacoby Brissett stepping up like this? It not only echoes the tale of backup quarterbacks making a splash, but also stirs up some interesting strategic conversations for Arizona going forward. What does this mean for their QB lineup when Murray returns? It creates possibilities, doesn't it? Okay, and then we switch gears, folks, over to the Cowboys side of things with Dak Prescott's, well, let's just say it was less than stellar performance, right? I mean, looking at the stats, you see 24 completions out of 39 attempts for just 210 yards. That's not cutting it against a team that came in hungry like the Cardinals. So where did it all go wrong for Dak? First off, it's that lack of downfield threat. I mean, 210 yards is just... It's like they're playing it too safe or something, right? And you can't help but notice the overall rhythm and flow of the Cowboys' offense just wasn't there. The Cardinals were in his face. Quick time, 5 sacks. Prescott's decision-making and that pocket awareness was seriously put to the test. Then there's the connection, or lack thereof, with his top targets like CeeDee Lamb. 12 targets and only 85 yards. It's just not enough when you need your big players to produce in these tight games. And speaking of being off, what was going on with their red zone efficiency? Just couldn't capitalize on key moments. Prescott has got to be asking himself where to go from here, especially after the way Arizona rattled him. The Cowboys really need to find a way past these pressure moments, because if they don't, games like this are going to leave them far from the playoff picture. Man, let's flip the script and talk about someone who absolutely shone under the bright lights, Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy is the real deal, and you could feel it every time he was targeted. He was running routes like a seasoned veteran out there, and his 7 grabs for 96 yards, insane. Those catches weren't just dinks and dunks. He was making critical plays that turned the game Arizona's way. And what about that second quarter touchdown? Absolute poetry in motion. It was one of those moments where you just knew the defense had no shot. They were on skates. Harrison made that look too easy, didn't he? The chemistry he's developed with Brissett is really something, and that connection was important in not just sustaining drives, but demoralizing the Cowboys' defense time and again. You know, it's not just about the numbers, it's about how his presence changes the game plan for defenses moving forward. They're going to have to account for him, which you bet means more focus on Harrison and probably more opportunities elsewhere in the lineup. But here's the kicker. His emergence doesn't feel temporary. This is a guy who started crafting a narrative of a future star in the league. In the bigger picture, Harrison Jr.'s game against Dallas shows not just his potential, but honestly, it sets the stage for him as a pivotal offensive weapon in the Cardinals' arsenal. If he keeps this up, look for defenses to scramble trying to contain him going forward. Alright, so speaking of scrambling defenses, we absolutely have to talk about the Arizona Cardinals' defensive performance. Oh my goodness. Where do you even start with a showcase like that? Let's break it down, because their defense was nothing short of relentless. First up, Josh Sweat. This man was on fire. I mean, honestly, his ability to penetrate the Cowboys' offensive line was off the charts, grabbing 2 incredible sacks. He was all over Dak Prescott, right? And then you've got Calais Campbell. With his experience and power, he delivered another 2 sacks. Outrageously effective stuff. These guys were just everywhere, forcing Prescott into errors and giving the Cowboys fits all game long. Not to mention those turnovers. The Cardinals capitalized on 2 fumbles. Huge plays. Those were absolutely critical in terms of shifting momentum. Each recovery seemed to deflate the Cowboys' spirits, just bit by bit, as if they couldn't catch a break. But here's the thing, the Cardinals' secondary deserves a nod too. They secured the red zone. Dallas only converted 1 out of 3 attempts down there. Insane. The combination of pressure up front and solid coverage on the back end felt like a masterclass in defensive football. What this all means for Arizona? Honestly, if they keep bottling up offenses like this, they've got a real shot at shaking up the NFC West. Seriously, folks, keep an eye on how they wield this newfound strength moving forward. Now, shifting gears to the Cowboys, and oh boy, we need to talk about their red zone woes. This was a game where the Dallas Cowboys could only convert 1 out of 3 red zone opportunities, which is just, simply put, baffling. You'd think this powerhouse offense led by Dak Prescott could capitalize more when they're knocking on the door, but man, they just couldn't break through. Let's dive into it. The play calling when they were this close to scoring really did them no favors. The lack of innovation, for me, felt like it left them kind of predictable. And you know, against a defense buzzing like Arizona's was, that's just asking for trouble. And oh boy, the turnovers. They were just momentum killers. Each missed chance turned into fuel for the Cardinals' resurgence. Now, there's got to be a spotlight on some execution errors too. It wasn't just about strategy, it was at times about execution as well. We're talking misses, miscommunications, and maybe some questionable decision-making under pressure. Even players like CeeDee Lamb couldn't seem to break free from the defensive grip tight enough to make the difference. Looking ahead, Dallas must recalibrate, and quickly, if they want to remain in contention. Seriously, a revamp of their red zone strategy is vital. Whether it's swapping up play calls or investing more in securing that end zone space, changes are undoubtedly needed to steer their season back on track. And now, speaking of recalibrations, let's chat about these NFC West dynamics and playoff ambitions stirred up by the Cardinals' unexpected victory over the Cowboys. I mean, if you told me 2 weeks ago that Arizona, sitting at 3-5, would snag such a crucial win, I'd have been skeptical, but here we are, and it's shaking things up big time. With Jacoby Brissett just slotting in there and getting the job done in Murray's absence, this could honestly shake up the quarterback scene a bit. Yeah, he's keeping the momentum alive, right? But it's not just about Brissett. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s rise in the defense, spearheaded by players like Josh Sweat, are positioning them better, especially with divisional games looming. If they can harness this newfound balance between offense and defense, they might just have the spark needed for a playoff push in the NFC West. On the flip side, the Cowboys' 3-5-1 record has them at a crossroads. Dak Prescott's inconsistencies and strategic shortcomings, particularly with red zone inefficiencies and turnovers, are glaring issues needing immediate fixes if they're to salvage their postseason hopes. This team's got some talent, but they seriously need to tighten up their defensive stance and offensive execution with some big opponents, like the Eagles, lurking. But what do you guys think? Is Arizona on a path to surprise us all further? And can Dallas turn things around? Let's talk about it in the comments below because, trust me, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep those game faces on.